Hey guys, Isabel here. Welcome back to Reeled In. So I know it's been pretty much a week since I recorded part 1 of my Falcon and the Winter Soldier analysis, but finally I've gotten around to part 2, which will be this video. Make sure you guys check out part 1. You can click up here to check that out. Part 1, I discussed some real world problems that I think the show depicted, as well as some characterization, plot points, and just what I felt about episodes 1 through 3. So this part 2 will be episodes 4 through 6. So let's dive on into episode 4. And I have to say, what really made me like Sam and put him at one of my top Avengers is his ability to understand and even emphasize with the antagonist, Carly. Probably because even though he hasn't been through her exact situation or her exact struggle, his past struggles have a lot of similarities with Carly's current struggle. And a part of me feels like in order to be like a good hero, you sort of do need to have that level of humility, that experience of the struggle. Steve had it with him being the little guy, and I think that is also what led him to be a great Captain America. And I think this lack of real humility is what led to Walker's downfall as a Captain America. Because we don't really know a lot about his backstory, but it definitely seems like he hasn't really had to struggle much from what we know so far. Although I would love to see his backstory in the future, and maybe that might prove me wrong. Also, I love that no matter how Sam may portray his feelings on the outside, he really is always looking out for Bucky. I mean, he's always making sure he's okay and doesn't spiral back into his Winter Soldier mind. Also, by this point in the series, I am definitely convinced that Walker is a little crazy.
No.
Especially when he loses control of a situation. So he makes a comment to Bucky about the serum.
This is all really easy for you, isn't it? All that serum running through your veins.
And it made me think back to when Zemo said,
The desire to become a superhuman cannot be separated from supremacist ideals. Anyone with that serum is inherently on that path.
I think over his time as Captain America, Walker started comparing himself to Steve. Like how he maybe couldn't do all the things Steve could because he didn't have the serum. I think he is also a bit haunted by his past in the army and compares his own abilities in a what-if scenario. So what if he had the serum when this happened or when that happened? And we all know contemplating what-if scenarios is not a great way to live your life. So yes, at the beginning, I think Walker was trying to be sincere about not being the next Steve, but it is kind of hard to not compare yourself to him as the new Captain America. And I think slowly Walker started to crave the idea of being a super soldier just like Steve was. And like Zemo said, the want of the serum leads down the path of supremacy, which I think we will see a lot more from Walker in the future. I also wonder if in the future we will find out what in Walker's past has made him sort of psycho and paranoid, because he definitely was acting that way even before he took the serum. But we all know the serum enhances what's on the inside, so I feel like it will definitely become worse the longer the serum is in his body. Also, one thing that made me kind of mad was that if I was Sam, I would have screamed at Walker for interrupting my chat with Carly. Because if you think about it, it can be viewed as Walker not trusting Sam enough for his talk to work. With Walker, it's always my way, my way, my way. I don't care about your way. We have to do it my way. Also, how dare he disrespect the Dora Milaje?
John Walker, Captain America. Let's put down the pointy sticks. Off on the wrong foot.
The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be.
In this episode, what I really found intriguing about putting Bucky's backstory at the beginning of this episode is that when him and Io are fighting, she deactivates his metal arm. And in Bucky's mind, I think he believes the Wakandans helped him in good faith. But the fact that the arm that they made for him comes with the deactivation sequence means that there was still a high level of distrust towards him, and I think that hit him really hard. Also, I have a quick question for you viewers. Do you think there's an issue with Lamar sort of being kind of complacent towards Walker's behavior? Because to me, it seems he obviously notices that Walker is not his usual self, and that some of the things Walker says and doesn't really seem to sit right with Lamar. But he doesn't really say anything against it. So I'd like to know your guys' views. Do you think that was an issue? And do you think if Lamar spoke up, maybe certain situations could have been avoided? Also, another thing that makes me appreciate Sam even more is that the way he uses his wings is the same way Steve uses his shield, as an extension of himself, which proves that Sam is the right guy to be the new Captain America. Because to him, those weapons aren't just weapons for him to utilize. Those are a part of him, basically. And he knows how to use it. He's obviously trained with them for a long time. I said in part 1 that Walker just kind of threw the shield around. There wasn't that level of grace that Steve used with the shield, and I think Sam has that grace. Even when he finally trained with the actual shield and took up the mantle of Captain America, he still had the same grace as Steve. So in regards to episode 4, I didn't have much to say on them because a lot of it was action-oriented. But now it's the end of episode 4, and we have gotten to the biggest controversy, I think, that is in this series, and it definitely got the most reaction out of people. So Lamar's death and the following actions of John Walker. Like, I was real hurt when Lamar died, and I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was, of course they killed the black guy. But the following action by John Walker, I think, is what really sealed mine and others' view of him. I understand that he just lost his best friend, but Carly is the one who killed Lamar, not the rest of her followers. And Walker went after an unarmed man, a man who was holding his hands up in the air, pleading for his life, not a threat in the moment, and Walker killed him in cold blood. Also, how tragically ironic that Captain America killed a Captain America fan. And I feel like this also displays Walker's lack of control. This scene is a direct parallel to when Steve brought his shield down onto Tony's arc reactor in Civil War. But Steve only hit Tony once to debilitate him and to stop him from following Bucky and himself. John Walker brings his shield down on a man who doesn't have any armor or weapons like Tony did. Walker brought that shield down 4 times. I counted. And he has stained the shield. The symbol of Captain America is soiled with blood. Never has the shield been seen with a smear of human blood, red blood on it. I don't believe so. And this may also be me reaching, but there could be another real world problem here. Like how, especially in America, there's a certain demographic that most Americans like to blame as a whole for certain actions, and they especially like to label them as terrorists. Well, I think this scene in particular may depict that, similar to some people grouping all people of one group under a singular label, Walker killed that man simply because he was a member of the Flag Smashers, and Walker needed an outlet for his anger. If he did have to go after anyone in an attempt to avenge Lamar, he should have gone after Carly, if anyone, but instead he murdered someone, and there's a big difference between killing people in battle or war than seeking out an unarmed person and ending their life. So now we've moved on to episode 5, and this is definitely another real world problem I saw immediately. Governments creating problems and then blaming a scapegoat. I do agree with Walker that the government is what made him as he is.
I only ever did what you asked of me, what you told me to be and trained me to do, and I did it.
Promised to have his back and sort of threw him under the bus. I do think he should have had the consequences after killing that man. So I think there is blame on both sides, but the government definitely has a large part in it as well. And in this episode, I really, really like the scene where Bucky finally confronts Zemo. He holds a gun to his head and pulls the trigger, yet the clip is empty. And when he holds out his hand and the bullets fall, man, like that is so powerful. Like that's Bucky's way of telling Zemo that he isn't a killer anymore, and he is one step closer to moving forward with his life. And Zemo and his actions can't affect Bucky any longer. He is finally free from him. So one thing that I do like about this episode is that there is a lot of important dialogue. I know especially for superhero movies, I know people find the lack of, a lot of action kind of annoying, but I thought the dialogue was great. Like when Isaiah is talking about him breaking his men out of being captured, that directly parallels when Steve headed a mission to save Bucky from the Hydra camp. Like Steve got praised for it, and Isaiah got locked away and tortured. So again, we have the racial issue. Someone seen as a symbol versus someone who's seen as expendable. I also like how Broadley points out that the problems that I've been picking out from the show and explaining to you guys, those problems have been going on for decades. It's just a different group or a different reason. It's just one big loop that seems like it will never end. And that's one of the main reasons why I love this series. It brings a light to all those problems and then shows a way to enact a solution, or at the very least, adopt the correct mindset. Also, my man Bucky, I hope he gets a girl in the future. Because when Bucky smiles at Sarah, I think it was really cute. And when Sarah says her name, I didn't realize until I was rewatching the first Captain America that Steve's mom was also named Sarah. So I like to think that maybe Bucky was also remembering that little tidbit of information. But he totally has the hots for Sam's sister. So now we've reached the end of episode 5, and I gotta tell you guys, the GRC conference made me so mad. Listen to this.
Do we really need to bother with a vote? There are troops in place. I can make a call and have the refugees move now.
They are talking about them like they're cattle and not human beings. And this will tie into what I say when I talk about episode 6, especially the end of episode 6. So here's episode 6. I will say that Walker did redeem himself a little bit when he chose to save the people in the van over going after Carly. It seemed he had a little moment of clarity, which I found interesting for his character and what it may mean for him in the future. But I still don't like him. So again, this was a lot of action. The helicopter fight scene with Sam, trying to save the hostages ties into the first episode where he's saving the military hostage from Batroc and his men, the FLA, in those helicopters. And I know some people have expressed their dislike with Sam not fighting Carly in their last scene together, but here's the thing. Carly is supposed to be a tragic character. She is a young woman who has had everything taken from her. She has been trying to enact change with no results because the people who matter, or the people who can, make those changes happen, ignore her or don't listen to her. And because of this, she is full of anger, pain, frustration, and hurt. Usually, people her age have their whole life ahead of them and are supposed to have endless opportunities to grow and succeed. Well, that's obviously, even in today's world, is not always true. It depends where you come from and what is available to you. Carly had those opportunities stripped from her when everyone was blipped back. And Sam 100% sees himself in Carly, and I think he believes that there's a chance he could have turned out like Carly. Angry at the world with no guidance and no one with the power to help. along this journey, and even in regards to the little theory I had in part 1, Carly has lost her way and sort of also her mind. She got sucked into the situation, and to her, it didn't seem like there was a way out. Like the scene where Sam carries Carly's lifeless body down like an angel or a Valkyrie delivering her soul to freedom was done intentionally. In a way, this is what set Carly free. She wasn't burdened any longer. That being said, though, I am actually really upset that Carly died, because it sort of makes it feel like the only way to deal with the problem or to solve the problem of Carly was to kill her. And I personally feel like there could have been other ways.
I mean, this girl died trying to stop you. And no one has stopped for 1 second to ask why.
So this is when I was talking about the end of episode 5 ties in to Sam's speech at the end of episode 6. And I think it's a speech everyone should listen to. And I think it's very important and addresses all the real world problems I've been explaining. And I think it's a good point that the people who are making these big decisions for other people have no idea what the struggling people go through. And in order to make the best decision, they actually need to feel what it's like.
But the question is, who's in the room with you when you're making those decisions? Is it the people you're going to impact? Or is it just more people like you?
So the ending character arcs. Sam is Captain America. He's confident in his decision, and he's taking up a new mantle with a new message for what it means to be Captain America in this modern day. Bucky is finally happy. He has closure, and he's given the one person that matters to him closure as well. He's found a new family with the Wilsons, and I think now he can start living his life, not someone else's. Also, I'm pretty sure once he confessed to Nikojima, he was able to cross off the other names on his list. Not because he actually talked to the people on the list. So it seems like this one man who had his son killed by Bucky was the one person that was holding Bucky back completely. Zemo has fulfilled his mission of getting rid of the serum, even though he killed people. Walker has become U.S. agent, which I think will be definitely a vigilante sort of situation. I'm very interested to see where the character goes in the future. And Sarah, Sam's sister, got to keep the boat. And Carly, through her actions and through Sam's understanding, got her message out to the world, which ultimately, when she first started, is what she really wanted. She wanted people to hear and to see and to listen and to understand and to do something, which she sort of got to because the GRC held back their decision. And Isaiah Bradley got to have his story told to the world. He's no longer invisible. And Sharon Carter is now in a position of power with the ability to give away government secrets to whoever she wants. So there's definitely, I feel, a consequence of this, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. I'll definitely be keeping my eye out, though, for in future MCU movies, when the villain or antagonist knows a little too much, I'll be like, the power broker maybe got a hand in that. So overall, I thought this series was amazing, and I'm honestly so glad I watched it. I loved the deep dives into the characters and the storyline it told, because I think it was a story that needed to be told. So I know that this part 2 was a lot shorter than part 1. I feel like the most real world problems I wanted to discuss was in part 1, and I wanted to make sure that I discussed them to the best of my ability. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. What did you think of the character arcs? What did you think of the series as a whole? I'd love to know your opinions. If you want to check out my full Falcon and the Winter Soldier reaction, you can click up here for the playlist. I've done other MCU reactions. I've done WandaVision. Also, you can click up here. And I will definitely be doing future reactions for MCU as well. I do Star Wars reactions, so you can check out my channel for that. I do Harry Potter merchandise reviews, so make sure you check that out as well. There's a lot of things on the horizon, and I can't wait to discuss my thoughts on those with you guys. So thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe for weekly videos, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see when I post. So the episodes 4 through 6 and the entire series of Falcon the Winter Soldier has officially been reeled in. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.